Welcome to Sir Lancelot's Real Estate Roundtable, your guide to mastering the realm of real estate in Central East Florida. I am Sir Lancelot Leonard, ready to uncover the secrets of seller strategies, home staging, mortgage mastery, and more. From Daytona Beach to Cocoa Beach, Lake County to St. Augustine, join me as we navigate the intricacies of real estate. As the leader of the Sir Lancelot Group at Florida Homes Realty and Mortgage, I'm here to arm you with knowledge and innovation, whether you're a seasoned homeowner or a first-time buyer, unveiling the kingdom of real estate, one roundtable at a time. Today, we have a very special guest with us, Tina Johnson. Tina is a seasoned real estate agent with a wealth of experience in helping clients find their dream homes. With a strong online presence on platforms like Zillow, Facebook, and Homes.com, Tina has built a reputation for her dedication, expertise, and personalized service. Whether you're buying, selling, or just curious about real estate market, Tina's insights are invaluable. Tina, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Lance. I really appreciate it.
Also, Tina works in the same brokerage as me, and I love her to death because she's trying to help me get an office in our
Yes.
local area.
Hey, it benefits me too, you know.
I know. You work our area too a little bit. You sneak down here.
That's right.
Can you tell me a little bit about your background and how you got into real estate and what started you?
Well, actually, my background is in nursing. I was a nurse for several years. Then I got married, and then we had kids right away. And then I had an accident, and I didn't work nursing for a little while. So when I finally was ready to go back because the kids were now getting into school, my husband talked me into getting my real estate license. We were actually looking to sell our house and we were looking for another property. So I did kind of all the legwork for that. So he had this brilliant idea that I would be amazing at this job, right? And I told him he was flipping crazy.
Don't we all
I told
say
him
that?
I wasn't a salesperson.
Then you get to realize that real estate is not like sales,
True.
correct? So
It's a people job.
yeah.
You know, if you're a people person, you should be able to really do well at this job.
What do you most enjoy about being a real estate agent?
Well, of course, the flexibility, especially when my kids were young, they're adults now, but it gave me the flexibility to work around their schedules. And I like going out and looking at houses. I enjoy looking at different ideas that people have had and done with their homes, right? And I try to bring some of these ideas home, but my husband, you know, him and I, we're never on the same page. So what I like, he thinks I'm crazy sometimes, you know, whatever.
It's always fun to say. I mean, we have our collisions with my wife too. You know, Daria.
Yes.
She has definitely her vision, and then she likes to play it out for me. It's like, hey, hubby, this is what I want. You build it. So,
Oh, there you go. I wish I had one of those.
yeah, so I have to build them as a side. But I love working with wood, and I love building things. So it's kind of like my hobby, I guess I would say. I don't have a lot of hobbies, but I guess building is one of them. I like working.
I don't have a lot of hobbies either. I like to scrapbook. That's probably my biggest hobby. And I like to just sit at the beach and watch the ocean.
That's cool. It helps if you have a lot of oceanfront listings.
Right?
I'll do an open
right
house
now.
every
I have
weekend
one.
from morning to night.
Hey, you know, right now I'm working on a saltwater canal home. And this morning I was over there and there was a couple of dolphins that went by. I was like, oh, I could so love doing open houses here.
Tell me a little bit about open houses because you do a lot of those. And
Yeah.
tell me, what do you do? How do you do them? What's your return? And what's your expectations from an open house? Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I don't know if I have any really big expectations. I've been doing this job for over 20 years now. And to be honest with you, I have never sold one house from doing an open house. I have gotten buyers from doing an open house, but for my sellers, I've never actually sold one of my listings from an open house. I do it because it is one of the tools in our toolbox, right? That we have available to us to help our sellers. And sometimes I have sellers that are like, Tina, no, don't worry about it. You don't have to worry about doing open houses here. I was like, well, thank you. But, I like to get as much exposure, and sometimes you go there and you sit there and nobody shows up. But other times you come in and you got 3 or 4 visitors that come through, or sometimes more. So you always have all different opinions that you could take back to your seller. And some are easier. Some people love the house, but there's just something else out there. It's maybe just not laid out quite right or whatever. Nothing wrong with the house itself. As far as expectations, I expect everybody that walks through the door is already working with an agent most of the time. That way I'm not disappointed, right?
Yeah.
So we're supposed to ask people when they come in, are you working with an agent? That's not usually the first thing that I ask. Okay. I always welcome them and we'll kind of like get some conversation going. And there's usually a place in that time that they're there that I have the opportunity to throw that out. But I always do throw it out to find out, because I never want to step on another agent's toes.
We have small communities in our areas, like you don't work out of Jax or Orlando, we work Palm Coast and Ormond Beach, Daytona
Yeah.
Beach, where the concentration of agents, maybe a few thousand agents.
Right.
And the ones that actually work is what, 10-20% of that, maybe. So the few hundred agents that actually work, you probably know all of them. So
Right.
when you're like, oh, yeah, work with an agent, yes. Oh, may I ask who it is? You probably know the agent who they're working with.
A lot of times
Like,
I do.
yeah.
And like here in Palm Coast, we got a lot of new agents around, and I'm sure it's the same way down that way. So lately it seems like they're throwing out some names that are like, I don't think I've ever even heard of that person.
Would you?
Yeah, right? Maybe I need to meet this person. They should come talk about our company with us.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, so what kind of trends are you seeing in the market right now and around Palm Coast?
Well, Palm Coast had a massive amount of building going on for the last 3 years when we came out of COVID and everything went crazy insane. We've had a massive amount of building going on, and it really made it challenging for our resale sellers because they didn't have any way to compete against the builders. They didn't have the brand new everything for the most part. They didn't have the money to offer concessions to the buyers like the builders do. And now we're seeing things turn around some. And I see here for sure in Palm Coast that the builders are mellowing down on the number of inventory homes that they're putting in out there. So the resale market has grown. We've got a lot more resale homes on the market than we have had in quite a long time. Of course, that does make it challenging to a degree because now the buyers have all this inventory to pick from, right? But it is better. It's better because the buyers have been really quiet for a little while, right? Because the rates came up and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't pay those massive rates, right? And how
Builders
many?
were offering quite a good incentive on the rates for quite a bit. I think they still are. What is it that
Yes.
4.99% some builders are offering,
Yep.
5.99, and etc. for like primary residence, of course. So yeah, they're big competition for you and
It's
I
big competition.
resale.
But in the same breath, I think you can say that there is an opportunity out there to work with resale owners to give you the same opportunity to buy down your rates as the builders do. Because you do have the opportunity to ask the sellers now for concession money where you didn't have. You can negotiate on the price to save you the money where you can buy down your own rate, right?
Correct,
You
correct.
didn't have that before. You couldn't even begin to think of coming in under asking, right? You had to come in 40 over.
Oh, yeah. That was definitely 2020, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022 even was still.
That was a crazy time. And, I probably am a bigger buyer agent than you are. You probably are a heftier listing agent than I am, although I've become more listing oriented lately over the last few years, but I do enjoy working with buyers. And there was a period of time when it was a struggle for buyers. And I did feel bad for some of them because they just didn't have a chance. They couldn't compete with all the cash buyers out there.
No, you had to wrap them up and say, hey, come back in a couple of years, basically, because
Yeah.
Not with your financing type, not with your money. We can't even kick the ball around properly.
No, and I like to be honest with everyone. I would rather be honest and maybe have them say, Tina, yep, it's not gonna work right now. Because if I go out there on a limb and say, oh, yeah, we can find you exactly what you want for the money that you want to spend, right? And it was like, yeah, that is not happening.
Well, I like to be optimistic and say, yes, we're gonna do the best we can and we're gonna get you
Always
what
gonna
you
do the
need.
best we can,
Always
absolutely,
do
but
the
I
best
can't
we
make any
can.
promises, and I
Yeah.
can't make any promises.
Can you share a memorable story or experience you had with a client?
Oh, yeah, I have a really good one for you.
Okay,
I sold a house to this person in Port Orange, over right on US one, where the canals back up to those houses right there between Dunlawton and Herbert,
okay,
right?
yeah.
Maybe a little south of Dunlawton. And anyway, sold her this house. She lived in it for a few years, right? She calls me, she wants to list the house, so I go see it. And we went over numbers and everything. And I said, okay, let me go put the paperwork and everything together. She says, okay, okay. So I go back to have her sign the paperwork and set up when we could do photographs. And she's not home. She's in jail.
What?
Yeah. But hey, I found her. Found her.
Well, how did you find out that she was in jail?
She had somebody living at the house there.
Okay, so you got
Yep.
in to take the
That person
pictures
let me know.
and everything.
And so I figured out how to connect with her at the jail. And she signed my listing paperwork.
I bet you don't really go, it's not that often that you go visit a jail.
I had never been to a jail before in my whole life.
Same here. Like I've never been to a jail, but that would be definitely something I would probably do for my clients. But I don't know. I hope I don't have to.
I know, right? I did feel bad, but I did the very best I could for her. And I brought the buyer myself and we closed it while she was still in jail,
Wow.
right?
It is really an interesting one. What
It-
do you
it's
think sets you apart from any other real estate agent?
I just try to be me. I work hard. I will go to the ends of the earth for somebody, but as well, I want to make sure that they're going to be loyal to me as well. But I just really try to be very honest. I do try to be optimistic, but sometimes people do want you to promise things, and it's like, this is not the kind of job you can make definite promises. And
Yeah.
I just try to be real. When I first started this business, I tried to be that person that dressed up in a suit or a dress, and it was like, not me, right? So I wasn't feeling like me. So I wasn't coming across like me. And I felt like I struggled for a little while. And then when I just went off to be myself, I connect really pretty well with people. And that's what they like to know, that you're somebody real, that you're not
Like
somebody
genuine for sure.
genuine. Yes, that's
Genuine is definitely one of the, I've noticed that a lot. If you're desperate or you're gasping for things or you don't, if you don't have an answer for something, just tell them. I don't know exactly what the answers are right now, but I will find out for you.
Absolutely. And I have mentored a lot of agents. I had a really amazing mentor myself.
Mhm.
Okay. Him and his wife did a great job with me. They raised me very well. And I like to pay that back. I like to pay it forward. And that's the one thing that I always tell everybody. We are human and we don't know the answer to everything. But people don't try to just give them an answer to make yourself look smart, right? Because if you give them an answer and it's not the right one, just be honest with them and say, you know what, that's a really good question. And I'm gonna have to maybe check on that because I don't know that I know the exact accurate answer, but I can get you one really fast because I know exactly where to go to get that.
Yeah,
And
that's
I think
awesome.
they appreciate that.
Of course, I think I would appreciate that. It skips over the part where, oh, so you told me this, but that's not the real answer. Instead of that, you're like, yeah, I'll find, she'll let me know later on, which is jumping from A to B. A few hours later, you're calling them with the answer. It's like, hey, this is what's going on in that property. And a lot of times those questions are really property specific that
True.
you wouldn't really need to know as an agent until you dig it deeper into
Right, yes.
what's going on with that. It's like,
Because a lot of times when we go to a house, we're just looking at the surface information.
yeah,
For the
exactly.
most
I mean,
part.
what we find on the MLS and maybe the tax records, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe a phone call with the listing agent, we find a little bit more out, but that's pretty much what we're going equipped with. And then they ask us the weird question is like, why is the closet like this? Or why is the like that? And you're like, well, that's a little specific question. We got to find out from the sellers, you know?
Yeah,
You know.
right.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
not being pushy. Like I never ever put any pressure on anybody. Yes, I need to make a paycheck, but I don't operate like any of these people on HGTV, okay?
I
Like
get
it's
it.
not 3 houses and you buy one, okay?
I used to do that in 2022. But that was the thing. It's like, look, guys, if you're not gonna make it off, we're not gonna get a house. Seriously, like we gotta, you know, you like it, we buy it. That's pretty much the way it worked.
Yeah, in that market you had to because it was going to be gone.
Yeah, I feel ashamed of myself, but I think I have some clients that I forgot about that I served in 20, because it was, I think I did 48 plus deals, and I was a single person agent, you know, no real help. Like I was doing everything by myself.
Wow,
Transaction coordination, contract
that's
work,
amazing.
showings, everything myself. And I was mostly buyers. Like I think I had about 10 sellers out of the 48. So that's 38 buyers and 10 sellers. That's a lot of work.
That is a lot of
Yeah, and I'm
things
like,
to keep track of.
exactly. So when I go back to my sales, I have an Excel sheet for all my sales, and I'm looking at the names because I have them written. Oh yeah, it's like, it was a
Oh, I got
wash.
to call
So
them.
busy. I was like, I was happy that I managed. I mean, if you sell 48 houses, that's almost one house a week.
Yes.
That's like you're working with a new family every week.
Wow.
If you think about it, 48, it's almost 52. That's 4 houses shy. So 1 month shy of every week you sold a house.
I don't think even in my whole career I ever had that many in 1 year.
Yeah. It was interesting, I'll tell you that.
But I've been happy, I've always had a good career. I've always done well for myself. And I've always done well, I think, really considering it's not something I really wanted to do,
Pursue.
right? My first year out, I was rookie of the year. And I stayed in that top 10 to 15 of the company in the first couple of offices that I belonged to. So I've kept a good standing in each office that I've worked with my whole career. And I did pretty good. I always thought I did really well. But then I came to Florida Homes. I was looking for a new home and I found this company and I have tripled my income over the 6 years that I've been here.
Well, it's different when the cuts are different, you know, you're paying your broker a different amount and how much you can extra, because I came from EXP. And at EXP, they took 20%, $16,000. Here it takes so long to cap here because of the 10,500 and the amount that he takes per transaction. So
Right.
when you're looking at the grand scheme of things, your marketing dollars that stay in your pocket are much higher because he takes so minimal per transaction until you
Right.
cap. So you have to sell $5.5 million to cap.
Well,
Over
that's what you
EXP, it's
do.
2.6. Yeah, exactly.
Me, I don't do that, but I'm okay with that. I'm good with the business that I do. I
Yeah,
do.
but you're
And I've
still
gotten to it.
diamond. You're awesome. I mean, you're still in the top 100, at least in the 2,700 agents we have. Like, yes.
Oh, right.
No, I mean, think about it.
That is, it is, it's crazy. And I don't know, sometimes I'm surprised, sometimes I surprise myself.
I mean, this is the thing. You do above average agents in the United States do around 3 million, I think, or less.
Yeah.
So, and I know you do
I'm
better.
usually between 5 and 10.
Yeah, 5 and 10. So you above average age, which is amazing,
Yeah.
I think. Any
Yeah.
advice you have for any buyers and sellers in this current market?
Sellers right now, definitely, it's all about pricing. And it's all about having the house priced for what it is, right? If you have a house that's dated, but you don't have the money to put into it, then you have to be sure to price it for what it is. And they have to understand that because we are in the market that we're in, the buyers, they feel like they've got more power these days, right? And so I prepare them for that power, right? But I prepare my sellers for that. And I try to just let them know, look, expect this. And if you get something better, that's great. But I want you to understand that the buyers of today, it doesn't really matter what your house is priced at. They're typically going to come in quite a bit under just because they've got to try. It's human nature.
And we don't have multiple offers anymore on the
Not
table.
like, no.
Plus, they're going to come in lower, and then they're going to beat you up during inspection, and they like just be ready, you know.
Be ready.
But your equity compared to when you bought your home
Oh, yes.
is 50% higher. So,
Absolutely.
okay, they're gonna
As
negotiate 10% off of it. You're
as
still
long
winning
as you've owned your
40%.
house for more than 2 years.
Yeah,
Okay, if you've only owned your house for a year or two, then that equity thing is a little bit of a struggle. You don't have that.
not
Um,
unless it was the last few years. 'Cause
yes, true.
I'm selling houses that I sold to my people in 2021 or 2020, and they have their 30, 40
Oh,
percent
yeah,
equity.
they've got a bunch of
Yes,
equity in their properties.
yeah.
So they could come down quite a bit on the price and still walk away with a good profit.
So, Tina, what do you think the future holds for the real estate market?
Oh, man,
You with all this experience, you went through quite a few ups and downs
oh,
here.
I've gone up and then I've tanked to the bottom, right?
Yeah.
And then we just rode that roller coaster all the way back up again, right? And I know there's a lot of different mentalities out there right now, and you hear a lot of different things. And even my own husband, right? Even my own husband, he's like, it's gonna crash. Okay, it's gonna crash. But I'm really not hearing that from any of my lenders. I'm not hearing that whole like, it's gonna take a big dive here any day, right?
Yeah.
So I think we're just gonna kind of like our prices are leveling out, and yeah, they might even drop some more, but I don't think that we're gonna see that great big giant crash to the floor again.
I don't think the real estate market's gonna crash either. I have a different opinion about it. I think the rates are gonna come down. We're gonna have a squeeze on the unemployments. I think they're gonna go higher, which is gonna make the Fed lower rates, because that's one of their jobs. It's either towards inflation or the job market. If the job market is growing, means lesser or more people going out of work, they still have to adjust the rate. And I think it is a heavier thing to adjust because you're talking about human lives instead of just recession, you know?
Right.
Recession's not going away. Oh, sorry, not the
No.
recession, what we got going
Right.
on with the funds. What do you call it, Tina?
Depression?
Hmm?
Not a depression, but we can be depressed.
I think we're gonna have a recession on our hands, but every recession, the housing market does well usually.
Yeah,
Because they
and
lower rates during recessions, and when they lower rates, usually rates for houses come down too, and people try to put their money into a solid investment, which is housing more often than none.
now it seems like I maybe had an email this morning. It was from a lender. It's not a lender that I work with, but I think they are an approved lender with our company.
Yeah.
And it was talking actually about the surprise in the jobless, new jobs being created, right? So it looked like there was more jobs created in this last quarter where they kind of were talking about dropping the rates, but because of that increase in number of jobs created, it actually worked the other way, and it puffed up the rates just a little bit. By the sounds, I haven't talked to any of the other lenders.
The reason for that is that the Fed is a month behind on their numbers always,
Oh, yes,
because they don't know the current, they know the numbers. So for June, they'll have it in July. For May, they get it in June. So
right.
they're always a month behind. Same with the inflationary numbers. That's the word I was looking for earlier.
There
So
you
the
go.
inflation's at steadily being around 2.8. They would love it to be at 2%. That's where they want it, is at 2%. But because they're at 2.8, that's why the rates are not dropping. But once there's more and more people without jobs, they're gonna have to come down with the rates. And that's when the recession's gonna happen. So I would just went through Wealth Mastery with Tony Robbins, amazing people, and I got to hear a lot of insights that are really recent, up-to-date market data. And they're saying that the housing market is gonna have another uptick by early next year, the latest, because the interest rate should be start to fall by the end of the year because of the job market. And that's one of the things I took away. Of course, there's other things like the builders are not building as many homes as people that need to buy homes. We have 340 million people living in the United States. And this is the thing, like, I think the last sort of recession we had in 2008, that was a big recession. We
Oh,
only
yeah.
had 300 million people. So we have 40 million more people right now in the US
That is
housing
crazy.
possible housing market. Yeah, isn't that crazy?
That
But
is
the
crazy.
builders still only building like 1 million homes a year when they need 2 million homes a year plus.
Yeah.
So that's where we are right now. So I think we're going to have a weird kind of recession. Recession meaning in the job market and probably in the regular goods and stuff like that. But the housing will probably tick up. I'm no
I think it's
financial
gonna
advisor or
be a
anything,
very
but
different recession as well. I don't, I went through that last 2008 to 2011-ish or whatever.
yeah,
And Palm Coast at that time, Palm Coast was one great big giant short sale foreclosure city, right? Because they had a massive amount of building prior to that.
construction. Yeah.
was going up. And so they had all those lousy rate loans that they were passing out at that time. Hey, you don't need to have a job, you can get a loan, right? It's like, no doc loans.
Oh yeah,
That was what the whole city of Palm Coast was at that time.
they're coming back, by the way. I had a call with
I have seen some of that
I
out
got a
there.
phone call from one of my lenders is like, you need nothing, just a body and we'll
It better
sign."
look way different than it did the last time. It
It-
didn't work the last time. What do you want to do it now?
Why do you want? Because people have bad credit. It's like, yeah, they shouldn't buy a home if they have bad credit. Let them work
Exactly.
on their credit first. And
They
that's
have
what
bad credit for a reason because
that's
they
what the
don't know how to
Dodd-Frank Act is
manage
for.
money.
Yeah, exactly. Get some money, get some better credit. That's how you can borrow and buy a home.
Yeah.
Well, I have the money, but I have bad credit. I'm like, you have bad credit because of your choices. What do you think?
Right.
Are you credible to pay back a loan? That's what credit means.
Right.
Like, come on.
Oh, heck with the loan payment. I'm going to go buy a car or a boat today,
Yeah, exactly.
I don't need to pay
Get
my
another
loan.
student
month.
loan debt. Just take another student debt out.
Oh,
Well, Tina,
yeah, I've heard that, and it's like, oh, that little voice in the back of my head is like, please, come on, somebody needs to use their brains. Okay, come on, let's use our brains.
exactly. These lenders need to get their act together for sure. Don't stop doing the craziness again.
Yes,
that had
you
back in
can't.
the day.
Not everybody is supposed to own a home.
Yeah, Totally
They're
right.
not that mentality.
yeah.
Even if they want to be, they just don't have. They just aren't
It's
set
not
up.
there. Yeah, you got to grow up to be a homeowner. I think
Absolutely.
it's that kind of thing. Like you got to be responsible, not just financially, but in a lot of other ways too. Because a home, you got to take care of a home once you own it. It's not just you're not a renter anymore.
Yeah, you
So-
don't get to call somebody and say, oh, hey,
Exactly.
my hot water heater doesn't work anymore. Or
Yeah, it's leaking, my toilet's leaking, or my plumbing's leaking, or my roof is leaking. Yeah, that's your responsibility now, you're a homeowner.
yeah,
So-
that's all you.
You either get the insurance to do it for you, or you get maybe a home warranty program if you don't make enough money, and you could make it happen with those items as well. Or you self-insure, put money aside, and fix the issues when they come and arise.
That's what my husband and I do typically.
That's awesome. Well,
We
Tina,
try
thank you
not
for
to use
sharing.
our insurance company.
Yeah, we insurance companies. They're
Right.
definitely.
They
We
just
can
wanna
talk about
punish you
that in another
anyway.
session for sure.
They only want to take your money. They don't want to give you any.
No, they never do. I don't think I've ever had an insurance claim on anything of mine. It's crazy. I always fork up the cash and fix it. Although I have to have insurance because of the mortgages, but
Yeah,
it is what
exactly.
it is.
Yep.
Tina, thank you for coming on the podcast today. Your
Well, I
experiences
really enjoyed it.
are awesome. And I wonder if you ever get a chance, we could repeat this and talk about other things. I think this was awesome, and I would like to see you more often, and definitely down here as well. Hopefully in
Absolutely.
our office one day.
Yes, we're going to work on that.
If anybody wants to check Tina out, Tina Johnson, you can find her on Zillow, Facebook, homes.com, all over the place. She has a lot of good reviews. You can read about her, and she's an awesome agent over in Palm Coast, and she also works for Volusia County. So give her a call if you need a good agent. She's an awesome person. Thank you,
Thank you,
everybody.
Lance.
Thank you, Tina.
You have
Talk
a
to you
great
soon.
day.
You too.
Thank you for joining us on Sir Lancelot's Real Estate Roundtable, where we've unveiled the mysteries of real estate together. Remember, in this kingdom of possibilities, every dream home is just a discussion away. I can help your real estate dreams come true. Just call me at 786-449-7518. Until our next roundtable, may your ventures be prosperous and your homes be filled with love and joy. Farewell, fellow knights of real estate.